Welcome to the Bastrop Podcast. Real people, real stories, all from right here in Bastrop, Texas. I'm your host, Matt Walker, a local business owner, realtor, and entrepreneur with Wisdom House Realty Group and Bastrop Drone and Media Company. We sit down with the locals shaping our community, from the mayor's office to Main Street shops, and bring you the voices behind the town we call home. Today, I am sitting down with Adam Richerson, the owner and operator of House Call Mobile Mechanics, Bastrop's newest mobile mechanic business. So Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I live here in Bastrop. My family and I have been here for 3 years. My wife's from Cedar Creek and I grew up in Round Rock, so we're both native Texans. And now we're here in Bastrop and really loving it.
Awesome. What do you think inspired you to launch your mobile mechanic business in Bastrop?
It had less to do with being a mobile mechanic business, but just our own business. Although I love mechanics and it's something I can do well, but it seemed to really fit what our family needed. I've seen in running a small company like we do that we have a pretty simplistic business model. Nobody's working for us or anything. It's made me really time rich in a way that I wasn't used to before. I guess not time rich is how that's normally used. Like you're doing so well financially, you can just do whatever you want to. But as far as I'm complete control over my schedule, if I want to make a certain day of the week a family day, or I've got something going on, or I need to do errands one day, or somebody needs my help, family member or something like that. In this business, I'm seeing I really have control over that and freedom over that instead of having to answer to somebody else's schedule. And answering somebody else's schedule is not bad, of course. That's a huge benefit I see coming out of this. And I wish I'd done it years ago. I think it's a lot better way to live.
I can 100% see that starting to open up for our own lives as well, of having that ability to have that flexibility. And you still have the job aspect of things need to get done, but that backside flexibility of it's on your own time. You're your own boss and you can set that schedule. So.
If something comes up, you can usually arrange things to make it work out instead of, oh, you've already missed too many days. And that kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell me, what services do you offer?
Since I'm a mobile mechanic, I'll do pretty much what I feel is comfortable. Well, I feel comfortable with to do outside or in somebody's driveway. A little bit more in and out jobs. And if it's a little bit heavier of a job, I'll usually, if it works out good for the customer, have it done at my place of residence.
Okay.
And have it taken care of there.
And what kind of jobs do you get called on for the most?
Diagnostic work and brakes. Brakes are always something that's super common. A lot of diagnostic calls as well. Just the car's not starting or it's cranking and not starting or something like that. I'll do some oil changes and fluid changes like that. It's like the reassurance of using me. But generally I'll do any kind of diagnostic work or car's not starting, car's cranking but not starting. Do those kind of work on those kind of things. Any kind of brake or suspension work. Some upper engine work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's something most people don't realize about your industry?
How difficult and technical it's become over the years. And obviously, cars have gotten more complicated, but the amount of tools we need and the amount of ability we need to electrical understanding is the big one to properly diagnose things has become increasingly more challenging. And that's part of the reason I like mechanics, because it's always interesting and you're always running into something new. There's always a new challenge. It's just not the same thing at all, day in and day out. It takes a lot of work and sometimes a lot of time, depending on what you're diagnosing. Some things are easy, like, okay, I can see that your brake pads are almost out, and that's why, or they are out, and that's why you're hearing that grinding noise. But some things, tracking down an intermittent electrical issue or something, can be much more involving. I need to learn how this make and model did it in this season of this car and find that information. And my wiring diagrams and tracing stuff down and using a lot of logic and common sense to try and properly 100% diagnosing something. That takes a lot of time and more experience than I think a lot of the other trades. I do think mechanics is actually the hardest trade of all the common trades I can think of. Not that those other trades, not to offend anybody, not that those other trades aren't also hard, but the vast variety of different troubleshooting problems we run into and systems constantly changing all the time, I think it kind of separates mechanics out from other trades that I know of.
I can see that. Is there a repair or maybe even a type of car that you just love to work on?
Oh man, I guess if I could work on anything, that I really enjoy working on and or driving. Little roadsters, Porsches and Miatas and stuff like that. I think those are cars I'm more passionate about. I like working on Hondas and Toyotas, especially Hondas, even though things have gotten much more complex. I noticed that even on later model Hondas, they still seem to be relatively thought out, how the engine bays are, how wiring is run, how hoses are run, where it's not as much labor to work on them in general, with lots of exceptions. I enjoy working on Hondas for that way. That definitely lowers labor costs and makes it cheaper for the customer if I'm not having to spend as much time just getting to the part to replace it. Mazdas are really good too.
So
Porsches
my next purchase should be either Honda or Toyota is what you're telling me to make my
or
mechanic.
Or a Porsche.
Okay, or a Porsche. Yeah.
I'd prefer to work on those.
Gotcha. I'll make sure that we'll get the Porsche and
Honda, Toyota, Lexus, yeah.
What's a fun or surprising fact about your family?
We're second generation homeschoolers, which is a big part of our family and our life. We're big fans of homeschooling. I was homeschooled growing up and my wife was as well, which is a little bit unusual. It was a much smaller smaller deal to be homeschooled in Texas when we were kids, but something we're very, very passionate about and see benefits all over the place from that. From family dynamic to being able to grow up with your kids and really get the time with them, to raise them how you want to. Also, not only raising them in the education, but you're there to also raise them in integrity and discipline and transferring your thoughts and worldviews to them, which is harder to do when you don't see them as many hours during the day.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What do you love most about working in Bastrop?
I think it's a pretty place to work. As a mobile mechanic, I get to go into every nook and cranny of Bastrop, it seems, and Bastrop County. I service all of Bastrop County. And I think it's, as far as a lot of other places, it's hot in Central Texas, but it's a pretty place to live. And I really love our forest and our pine trees. I love the people as well, just getting to build relationships with new customers and knowing a lot of new people. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Awesome. What's one piece of advice you'd give someone looking to start their own business here?
I think the most important foundational stuff, make sure your product, your service, yourself is on point in what it should be. A lot of people, I think, have some amount of skill level in whatever trade it is, but they miss it in integrity with maybe lack of honesty with the customer. We all make mistakes. If they make a mistake or if I make a mistake, am I going to, cover that up? Am I going to, you needed to replace that part anyway. It's going back to mechanics. Or am I going to own it? Hey, I made the wrong call on that. That's on me. I'll pay for that. You don't have to pay for that. So I think integrity, communicating with customers well, getting back with customers, and just doing what you say you're going to do to the best of your ability. Not that anybody's perfect, but I think, and I found, it seems like, and it's unfortunate in our culture to some extent today, but you can set yourself apart pretty easily just by doing those basic things that should be expected of everyone. Very successful just by making sure you're a person of integrity.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. 100%.
Yeah.
Where can people reach you if they need a mobile mechanic?
My company's name is House Call Mobile Mechanic. I service Bastrop County. I'm right here in Bastrop. They can text me, call me, look up our little Google website, just do a search on the Google map and I'll come up as well. But yes, sir.
Awesome. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
Sure. I'm a follower of Jesus. And for anybody who's watching this, the one who they call Jesus is, I have found, not just from growing up in church, but from experiencing it and living it, that Jesus really is the one true Son of God. That without him, for my own testimony, without him, although I wanted to be able to forgive, although I wanted to be able to love, I found that I was unable to do that in my own strength. But inviting Jesus in, I found that through his strength, I'm able to love like I want to. I'm able to forgive like I want to. And there's longer backstories to all that. Jesus is the one true living God and our only freedom from the sins, our failures of ourself, and of death. He's real. I found out that he really is real. And he's the true way to salvation. Yeah.
Awesome. Adam, I think that's great. Final thoughts. I appreciate you so much.
Yes, sir. This has been fun. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Bastrop Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, follow us on Instagram at wisdomhouse_tx and share it with a neighbor. We're here every week with the new conversations from people who make Bastrop feel like home. Got someone you think we should interview? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you.